February 26, 1991. The remote desert of southern Iraq erupts in a fierce tank battle between the U.S. 2nd Armored Cavalry and the Tawakalna Mechanized Division of the Iraqi Republican Guard. Captain H.R. McMaster and the men of Eagle Troop have destroyed an entire company of Iraqi T-72 tanks. Now Lieutenant Andy Kilgore and Ghost Troop are about to experience their own baptism of fire.
At that time, 7th Corps was 4 M1 Abrams tanks. There was 110,000 soldiers behind me. There was nobody in front of me. I'm poked through the smoke. We realized that we had about a company defense spread out in front of us.
He was in them. He was in their assembly area. I mean, he was in and amongst these guys. I mean, he basically, it's like, you know, he opened the front door and just started shooting.
The T-72 is a pretty good tank for when it is developed, but it is developed in the 1970s. It's got good armor, but it's very much outclassed by the M1 Abrams tank, which is its superior in every imaginable category. Its armor can take anything that the T-72 has to throw at it, whereas the T-72 gets sliced open like a hot knife going through butter.
The Soviets had a different theory on storage of ammo than the Americans. They've got the ammo basically stored around their hull. So if you make the ammo explode on a T-72 or any Russian tank, all that explosive force is funneled up through the turret.
Ghost Troop fires repeatedly until the Iraqi tank company is all but destroyed. But the men of the Tawakalna Division won't give up.
They saw themselves as being the best of the best, Iraq's elite. They manned their positions, they manned their vehicles, they fought back hard, they didn't surrender, and they died fighting. In many cases, the Americans had to kill every single member in an Iraqi squad or a platoon to get these guys to stop fighting.
And I'm looking over, and I can see past my wingman to my platoon sergeant. And I see an Iraqi jump up in front of him with an RPG. Iraqi is probably 50 meters in front of the tank. He slewed the gun onto the target. The gunner, very excited to see a guy pointing an RPG straight at him. Instead of flipping the coax, he just pulls the trigger. And he hit him what looked to me about center mass with a heat round. 120 millimeter projectile, about like that, in the center of the guy's chest. It looked like he imploded. The guy's body's just picked up and thrown away like a leaf.
In just a few minutes, Lieutenant Kilgore's platoon kills dozens of Iraqis and destroys 4 tanks and 9 armored vehicles.
When I finally destroyed all the vehicles that we could see, I got back up on the troop net, called in a spot report to the troop commander, who was not very happy with Lieutenant Kilgore at that time, since I had been engaged with him for a few minutes and not reporting.
I said, you ever pull any stuff like that, I'll put a bullet in you myself. But as it turned out, in hindsight, that was the absolute right thing to do, move forward that smoke, because basically he took the initiative away from the enemy.
Despite heavy losses, the Iraqis won't quit and launch a counterattack in an attempt to halt Ghost Troop's advance.
we got to the point where we were on 73 Easting, where we started engaging. We're moving, and I'm so intent on what's going on. I'm in the moment, and all of a sudden, I get thrown to the ground. I get thrown to the turret of my vehicle, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? And what I look up at my gunner, and he's yelling at me, and I can't hear him because I have a headset on. And I finally get him on the intercom. Why did you do that? And he says, sir, there are artillery rounds landing right next to our vehicle, and you didn't even notice it, and you were sticking your head all the way out of the vehicle. He said, you didn't see those rounds? I said, I had no idea that was happening. Because I was so focused on what was happening on the radio, what was going on with all the other units. That's how intense it is. You're just go, go, go. They saw that we were attacking from their flank, so they tried to move out and come around on our flank. What that ended up doing was that gave us a bunch of silhouettes moving across our front. And the crazy thing's that when we go to gunnery, we practice with moving targets that look just like that.
When that occurred, what I did is I scrambled 2 tanks, give them to the scout platoon, and the scout platoon would give two Bradleys and give it to the tank platoon.
By scrambling Bradleys and Abrams tanks in combined fighting units, Sartiano creates a lethal see and shoot combination. The Bradleys, with their superior targeting systems, pinpoint targets for the tanks, which then open fire with their high-velocity 120mm guns, able to unleash a deadly accurate round every 4 seconds.
Can you imagine putting something that's about as round as a grapefruit 2 miles away onto something that's as big as, a little bigger than a van? That's unbelievable. We had tanks shooting over 2 miles and getting the hits. It was absolutely amazing. All of a sudden, I remember it was Jeff Garwick said, Sergeant Mulder has been hit. And all of a sudden, the whole troop net just went silent.